occasion of the États Généraux du Cloud, organized by the Eurocloud France at in the Paris Cloud Week, which is taking place at the beginning of July. We have the pleasure to have Steve Robinson, General Manager of Arrow, responsible for all the cloud activity. Steve Robinson, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So Arrow is a distributor of enterprise solutions. So we understand very well in the what we call the traditional IT products what a distributor is. But could you tell us with the cloud how does it work? And because it seems a little bit surprising that distributors involved in the cloud technology.
So I think when we look at the cloud industry, there's really two types of emerging cloud technology stacks. There's what we call the traditional vendor, such as IBM, HP, Oracle would be some examples, and then there's kind of the born-in-cloud CSP, cloud service provider. So AWS, Microsoft Azure, IBM SoftLayer, these are kind of born-in-cloud service providers. And so when we look at a two-tier distributor like Arrow, what we do is we broker those solutions into a marketplace. And so we create a path for attaching cloud sales to traditional hardware and software sales. And then we create a path for resell and cloud build for traditional types of software cloud solutions. So we're kind of the meet in the middle. We're kind of the point where we provide a certain level of value add in terms of aggregation. And then we also provide a go-to-market vehicle for resellers, whether they're a VAR or an MSP, to take that out to their end users.
So you just mentioned the go-to-market, the way of working. Could you explain a little bit more about how do you do that? I mean, you have you're working with a lot of different vendors with different technologies. You integrate that in solutions, and then you have partners and resellers, and then you work with them to the end users.
Right.
That's the way.
Right. So the way we view go-to-market is when we look at a marketplace, if we just created SKUs, that really wouldn't add much value to the downstream reseller. So what we're doing is creating a go-to-market framework in which it makes more intuitive sense to sell cloud solutions. And what we're doing is creating three pillars: a security pillar, infrastructure and operations pillar, and a big data analytics IoT pillar. And so through that lens, there's suppliers that will map to each pillar, and then there's use case that lives within those three pillars. And so we do the basic value-add services of training, enablement, pre-sale support, and also, more importantly, the cross-vendor solution stacking. So we take vendor A and vendor B and apply that to big data analytics as an example, and also anchor ourselves in terms of a hybrid cloud sale where there's still hardware to be sold on the prem with cloud and workload out in the public. So we create structure, in other words. I like to call it, we're kind of the R&D arm of the channel reseller, and create all the thought leadership in the pre-packaging of these cloud solutions, hybrid cloud solutions, out into the market.
It's like you taking all like Lego pieces and put them all together for the different kind of solutions that are needed by the end user. That's the way it's working. With the cloud, I think we have the idea that the end user could go directly to the cloud vendors, and there is no need for people in between these two. What's the need for a company like yours to be in between and to give some value-added solution to the end users?
Sure. So I'd answer that question in two parts. The first is the platform. When you transact on cloud, typically the back-end cloud service provider has a set of APIs in terms of quotation, ordering, provisioning, and billing and analytics. We've made the investment as an aggregator to publish and integrate those APIs with those backends. So an example would be Microsoft. We've spent a significant investment in terms of API integration that allow our marketplace, ArrowSphere, to enable quote to cash. So the first part is that's the value add. Otherwise, an individual reseller would have to go make that investment themselves. We also obviously cross-broker and build those APIs on the platform across multiple vendors. So a reseller wouldn't have to go do individual API integration themselves. The second part is, as I alluded to, is the go-to-market. And so our ability to wrap value-add services around these core solution sets on our three pillars is paramount to making an easy button, if you will, for the reseller. They don't have to rationalize the cloud offerings that are in the marketplace today. Arrow can take our thought leadership and combine, again, vendor A with vendor B and wrap a services model around that and take that out into a complete package that's sellable out into the end customer space, even by vertical, public sector, private sector. We've put the kind of the mind muscle behind how they would do that.
So you mentioned vendor A and vendor B, so you have the choice of dealing with a lot of different cloud vendors. You have, you can name them. You have AWS, you have Google, you have Microsoft, IBM, and many others. Are you neutral with these vendors, or do you have a choice or preference with some of them?
Well, no, as a distributor, we're always neutral. Our ambition is to place the best solutions within certain categories of enterprise software and hardware and cloud. So it's never a preference for one or the other. It's to provide actually options. But there's a difference between just scattering a bunch of SKUs, thousands, tens of thousands of SKUs in a marketplace versus providing structure to those SKUs across different domains that a partner would go resell in. So as I said, we take our marketplace and we create the platform for transacting on. And by the way, with ArrowSphere, there's really two motions. There's resell of cloud products, and then there's cloud build. Cloud build enables an MSP to actually become a hoster of their own retail cloud offering out into the marketplace. An example of that would be vCloud Air Network, where you take the VMware cloud virtualization stack, and we actually support that in a annuity or a recurring revenue model out into their hosting facility out to the end customer. So at the end of the day, it's about a marketplace, but it's about the value add and enablement you put on that marketplace.
So we've been talking about the cloud for a few years now, and it's a very mature technology. What do you see? What future do you see for the cloud in the next 5 years? Do you see it's just going to be what we see today? Going the same way and developing to different sectors, or do you think there is going to be something new that's going to come pretty soon?
Sure. So right now, the snapshot globally is 5% of workloads or applications and data live inside the public cloud or a hybrid cloud. 5%. So that's not that. It's very early in terms of, particularly within enterprise adoption around cloud. So point one is there's a large market opportunity for channel partners. Point two is if you ask the average enterprise, whether public sector or private sector, what they want in a cloud provider, it's a trusted advisor in its managed services. It's not just moving the workload to the public cloud, but how do I manage and lifecycle manage that workload? What are the skill sets required to go manage those workloads? So this is a great opportunity for channel partners. But part three is you've got to have a blueprint to get there, and that's where a distribution partner or distributor like Arrow comes in play in terms of blueprinting what that trusted advisory role or those managed services look like from cradle to grave in terms of the end customer.
So it seems that there is a big future for the in the cloud for companies like Arrow. That there is no doubt about that.
I think it's been clear from the suppliers, the major suppliers like Microsoft, like AWS, like IBM, that the channel partner ecosystem is where we will drive that from 5% up to 40, 50% over the next 5 years.
Well, in fact, there is no limit. The limit would be 100%, right?
Correct. That's a good point, though. I don't know that we ever see a world of 100%. I think hybrid cloud is the format, so that implies, and there's implicitly there's a hardware sell in the data center on the private side, but there's also more workloads will be moving to public cloud. And the way I see it right now is, the top three use cases are business productivity, DR, BDR, disaster recovery, and net new business application development. So
there will be still a lot of things to talk about in the next future.
There'll be plenty.
Steve Levinson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.